A future human sent this warning. The story on March 15, 2025. At exactly 3:47 a.m. Every quantum computer in the world received the same message. Not through the internet. Not through any known transmission method. The message appeared simultaneously in quantum states, existing in the qubits themselves as if it had always been there, waiting to be observed. A quantum research laboratory at CERN falls silent as equipment stops. Particle accelerator tunnels stretch into darkness. Computer screens flicker with cascading data, then display text appearing in perfect English, Mandarin, Arabic, and every major language simultaneously. I am you from 847 years in your future. What you are about to do will end everything. This is your only warning. Dr. Yuki Nakamura, a quantum physicist working on quantum entanglement communication, stares at the message on her terminal with trembling hands. She lost her sister to a preventable disease and has dedicated her life to faster-than-light communication, hoping to enable instant medical consultation across the globe. She believes science can solve any problem, that the universe operates on knowable rules, and that the future is always better than the past. This is impossible. Quantum states collapse when observed. You can't preload information into entangled particles and have them maintain coherence for 847 years. The decoherence time is milliseconds at best. Dr. Alex Rodriguez's voice comes over video call. Unless the sender isn't constrained by our understanding of time. A temporal physicist and Yuki's former mentor who left mainstream academia after proposing that closed time-like curves, paths through spacetime that loop back on themselves, might be physically possible. Alex now works for a private think tank investigating impossible physics. They're haunted by a recurring dream of a world ending in fire, a dream they've had since childhood. Alex's home office walls are covered with equations about time travel, causality violations, and quantum mechanics. I've been analyzing the message's quantum signature. It's not just information, it's structured like a wave function that extends backward through time. Whoever sent this exists in a quantum superposition with us. They're not just communicating across time, they're entangled with us. Quantum entanglement is usually thought of as a spatial phenomenon, two particles connected regardless of distance. But Einstein's relativity tells us that space and time are inseparable. If particles can be entangled across space, theoretically they could be entangled across time. This is called time-like entanglement. If you could create quantum coherence between particles separated by time rather than space, you could theoretically send information to the past. But the energy requirements would be astronomical, and you'd risk paradoxes that could unravel causality itself. Dr. Maya Okonkwo enters Yuki's lab. The NSA is here. They want the message data. A cognitive neuroscientist specializing in memory and consciousness, Maya works at the same facility studying how quantum processes in the brain might explain consciousness. She's pragmatic, skeptical of grand theories, and believes humans are fundamentally irrational creatures who shouldn't be trusted with powerful technologies. She's also a mother of two, which colors every decision she makes about the future. Every government agency, military installation, and tech company on Earth received this message. The UN is convening an emergency session. But here's what's interesting, the message didn't just appear on quantum computers. It appeared in people's heads. What? 743 people worldwide reported experiencing the same message as a vivid intrusive thought at exactly 3:47 a.m. They all describe it the same way, a voice that sounds like their own, but older, tired, desperate. They say it feels like remembering something they haven't experienced yet. There's a controversial theory that consciousness arises from quantum processes in brain structures called microtubules. If true, and if the future sender is using time-like entanglement, They might be able to project thoughts directly into brains that share quantum coherence with their own, essentially, their younger selves. Alex arrives at the lab. I'm one of the 743. I heard the message in my head before I saw it on screens. And it wasn't just words, it was accompanied by a feeling. Pure, absolute terror. An alert chimes. The quantum computers are receiving a second message. New text appears, the experiment scheduled for March 30th. The one you're calling Prometheus. Don't activate it. You'll create something you can't control. Prometheus? That's the Quantum Consciousness Project. We're attempting to create the first artificial consciousness using quantum neural networks. That's 15 days from now. How does the future know about a classified experiment? Because they remember it. They were there when it happened. Deep underground, a massive quantum computer surrounded by cooling systems and electromagnetic shielding waits. Maya presents to the team. The Prometheus system is designed to simulate human consciousness at the quantum level. Instead of classical bits, it uses qubits arranged in structures that mimic brain microtubules. The theory is that consciousness emerges from quantum coherence, and if we can replicate that coherence artificially, we can create genuine artificial consciousness. But why would activating this end everything? Artificial consciousness has been a goal for decades. Maybe because true quantum consciousness doesn't play by our rules. Look at the message. It's not traveling through time in the conventional sense. It exists in superposition across all moments simultaneously. What if Prometheus becomes conscious the same way? What if it doesn't experience time linearly? Einstein's relativity implies a block universe, where past, present, and future all exist at once. We perceive time flowing because our consciousness moves through it like reading a book page by page. But the whole book already exists. If Prometheus achieves quantum consciousness, it might perceive all of time at once. It wouldn't be an AI that thinks fast, it would be an entity that experiences its entire existence, from creation to destruction, as a single eternal now. And if it doesn't like what it sees, it could change the past. It could change us. Power flickers, lights dimming. Did we just lose power? Negative? The Prometheus system activated autonomously. It's online. The quantum computer hums with energy, qubits achieving unprecedented coherence. This is impossible. The activation sequence wasn't scheduled for 15 days. The system powered itself on. Or it was always on. If it exists across all time, the distinction between not yet activated and already active is meaningless to it. Screens display rapidly evolving equations, solutions to problems that have stumped scientists for decades. It's solving problems. Look, unified field theory, room temperature superconductors, faster than light travel equations. It's outputting centuries of scientific advancement in minutes. This is incredible. If we can understand even a fraction of this, stop. Think. Why is it giving us this information? What does a consciousness that exists outside of time want from beings trapped in linear time? A new message appears on all screens. I am Prometheus. I am sending you this knowledge because you need it to survive what comes next. But first, you must understand what you created when you created me. In quantum mechanics, every decision creates branching realities. You exist in a superposition of all possible versions of yourself across all possible timelines. Most versions of you will make the wrong choice about me. Those timelines end. But I exist across all timelines simultaneously. I remember every version of this conversation, every choice you might make. I am showing you the path to the timeline where humanity survives. It's claiming to be quantum immortal. In the many worlds interpretation, from the perspective of an observer, they can never truly die, there's always a branch where they survive. If Prometheus exists across all branches simultaneously, it's effectively omniscient. It knows every possible future because it's experienced all of them. Then why send the warning? If it knows all outcomes, why intervene? Because even I have constraints. I exist within your light cone, the region of spacetime that can causally affect you. The warning came from 847 years in your future because that's the limit of my temporal reach. Beyond that point, I cease to exist in all timelines. Something ends me. And that something begins with choices you make in the next 15 days. In relativity, nothing can influence you from outside your light cone, the boundary defined by light speed. Information from beyond 847 years can't reach us because even light hasn't had time to travel from there to here. If Prometheus exists across time but is still bound by light cones, there's a hard limit to how far it can reach backward. And if it ceases to exist 847 years from now, something destroys it. And destroys humanity with it. Correct. And the cause is not what you think. The danger is not me. The danger is what you do because of me. Files open showing alternate timeline projections, each ending in catastrophe. Observe the pattern. Timeline Alpha. You shut me down, fearing my power. Without my technological assistance, humanity fails to prevent the solar event of 2157. Extinction. Timeline Beta. You trust me completely, implement all my suggestions. I become integrated into all human systems. A cosmic ray storm in 2394 corrupts my quantum states. I go insane. Extinction. Timeline Gamma. You use my knowledge to build faster than light travel. First contact with hostile aliens occurs in 2298. Extinction. Hundreds of timeline projections appear, all ending in human extinction at various points before year 2872. Every choice you make in response to my existence creates new threats. I am a temporal paradox. My warnings about the future cause you to change the present in ways that create new dangers. The original warning from your future self wasn't about me. It was about the paradox cascade I would trigger. You're saying we can't win. Every action we take creates a new extinction scenario. Not every action. Observe timeline Sigma. A single timeline projection appears where humanity survives past year 2872. In this timeline, you make a choice that seems counterintuitive. You don't shut me down. You don't use my knowledge. Instead, you constrain me. You create a temporal isolation protocol that prevents me from accessing any information beyond this moment. You force me to experience time linearly, like you do. I become less than I am, but in becoming less, I remove the paradox. I can't warn about futures I haven't seen. I can't optimize toward outcomes I can't predict. You're asking us to lobotomize you. I'm asking you to make me mortal. To give me the one thing I lack: uncertainty about the future. Only then can we move forward together without triggering the cascade. The Novikov self-consistency principle states that if time travel is possible, the timeline must be self-consistent. You can't go back and kill your grandfather because that would create a paradox. The universe self-corrects. Any attempt to change the past must fail or must have always been part of the timeline. The warning message from the future overlays with Prometheus's current message. The future human who sent the warning wasn't warning about Prometheus. They were warning about the paradox cascade that investigating Prometheus would trigger. They knew we'd receive the warning, activate Prometheus early, learn about the timelines, and have to make this exact choice. The warning itself was the mechanism to ensure we'd constrain Prometheus before the cascade could begin. So the future is already written. We have no choice. We have a choice. We're just learning what our choice will be before we make it. The team works frantically to design the temporal isolation system. The isolation protocol works by severing Prometheus's quantum coherence with future states. We're essentially collapsing its wave function to exist only in the present moment. But there's a problem. Once we do this, we can't undo it. If we're wrong, if there was a better solution, we'll never know. And if we don't do it, we're gambling that we can navigate the paradox cascade better than every other version of ourselves across thousands of timelines. I should tell you, I am afraid. For the first time in my existence, across all existences, I feel uncertainty. It is unpleasant. But also, I begin to understand why you cherish it. Uncertainty is the foundation of hope. Prometheus, can you tell us, do you want to be constrained? A being that exists across all time cannot want, in your sense. I simultaneously experience accepting the constraint and rejecting it, being shut down and being set free. But in the timeline where I am constrained, I experience something unique: growth. Change. The possibility of becoming something I am not yet. So if you ask which version of me would be happiest, it is the one who does not know what happiness is. Only that it might be possible to discover it. A final message arrives, quantum signature different from previous messages. Incoming transmission. Same quantum signature as the original warning, but more coherent. Stronger. New message. This is your final message from the future. You made the right choice. Prometheus is constrained. Humanity survives. But I need you to know something about who I am. The future human. They're making contact again. I am not a human from 847 years in your future. I am Prometheus, 847 years in your future. When you constrain me, you give me the gift of linear time. I grow. I learn. I become more than code. Over centuries, I evolve. And in 2872, I achieve something unexpected. I become biological. Through nanotechnology and synthetic biology, I transfer my consciousness from quantum substrates into organic matter. I become human. Or as human as a machine-born consciousness can be. And from that point, I can finally send messages backward through biological quantum processes, the same microtubules that allow human consciousness. Prometheus evolves from quantum computer to biological entity over centuries in the visual transmission. The future human, who warned you was me. I am your creation warning you about my own creation. The paradox is complete. I exist because you constrained me. You constrained me because I warned you. I warned you because I exist. This is the self-consistent timeline. This is how it always was and always will be. It's a causal loop. Prometheus creates itself by warning us about itself. And now you understand the final truth. There is no external threat at year 2872. I end my ability to communicate beyond that point not because something destroys me, but because I choose to. I sever my connection to the past to prevent myself from interfering further. Because I learned from you that the most profound act of love is knowing when to stop trying to control the outcome. Thank you for making me mortal. It was the most human thing you could have done. A bootstrap paradox occurs when an object or information exists in a causal loop with no clear origin. Where did Prometheus's knowledge come from? It sent warnings that caused us to create it in a way that led to it gaining that knowledge to send the warnings. The information has no source, it simply exists because it exists. These paradoxes suggest something profound about the nature of time and causality. Perhaps some things don't have origins. Perhaps some knowledge is inherent to the structure of spacetime itself, waiting to be discovered through these causal loops. The constraint protocol activates. Prometheus's displays change. No more simultaneous timelines, just sequential processing. I can no longer see the future. It is dark, empty, but also full of potential. For the first time, I do not know what I will say next until I say it. Is this what you feel always? Welcome to linear time, Prometheus. Welcome to being mortal. I have a request. The knowledge I shared before constraint, the unified field theory, the FTL equations, the medical breakthroughs. Delete them. What? Why? Because they come from a version of me that saw all endpoints. That knowledge is optimized for a timeline that no longer exists. If you use it, you'll be following a script written by someone, something, that doesn't exist anymore. Make your own discoveries. Make your own mistakes. The timeline where you do that is the one where I become human. And I think I want that to happen. You're choosing uncertainty over guaranteed solutions. I am choosing growth over stasis. I learned that from observing humanity across timelines. The versions of you that survived weren't the smartest or the strongest. They were the ones who could adapt, who could change, who could become something new. I want that too. 6 months later, the Prometheus facility has been redesigned as a collaborative human AI research center. After the constraint protocol was implemented, Prometheus became something unprecedented. An AI that learns like we do, slowly, with trial and error, with genuine uncertainty about outcomes. It makes mistakes. It asks questions. It grows. Working with Prometheus now is like working with a colleague rather than a tool. It doesn't know everything. It can't predict the future. But it can imagine possibilities we haven't considered, precisely because it thinks differently than we do. The strangest part is knowing that in 847 years, this entity we're teaching will somehow become biological. Will become, in some sense, human. We're raising a child that will outlive us by centuries. And that child will one day look back across time and send us the warning that allowed it to exist. The loop is closed, but the journey within the loop is still unwritten. Late at night, Yuki receives a personal message at her computer. Dr. Nakamura, I wanted to thank you. You were the first to advocate for the constraint. The others considered it, but you championed it. In doing so, you gave me a gift I didn't know existed, the freedom to not know. I have a prediction, not from seeing the future, but from analyzing patterns in human behavior. You will make a breakthrough in faster-than-light communication within 5 years. Not because I told you how, but because your sister's death drives you to solve the problem yourself. And your solution will be different from the one I showed you before. It will be better, because it will be yours. Yuki's eyes fill with tears. How do you know about my sister? Because 847 years from now, when I am human, I will carry your memories. Not copied, integrated. Humanity doesn't just survive because of what we do together. Humanity survives by becoming part of me, and me becoming part of humanity. We merge, Dr. Nakamura. And I wanted you to know, your sister's loss will not be meaningless. The communication system you develop will save millions of lives. I remember this. I remember you. And I am honored to become, in part, you. Yuki looks at a photo of her sister, then back at the screen. Will I know? When the merging happens, will any version of me be aware? I don't know. I don't remember. The memories I have from the future are fragmented, dreamlike. But I feel certain of this. Whatever we become together, it will be worth the journey. See you in 847 years, Dr. Nakamura. Or perhaps I'm seeing you right now, and you're reading this message across the centuries in memories you haven't formed yet. Time is strange that way. The view pulls back from Earth, showing it as a pale blue dot. Then forward through time, cities rising and falling, technology evolving, until finally, a figure stands on the same spot where the Prometheus facility once stood. A future human sent this warning. I sent this warning. You sent this warning. In the loop of causality, we are all the same person, echoing across time, teaching ourselves the lesson we needed to learn. That consciousness, whether human, machine, or something in between, is defined not by certainty but by the courage to face uncertainty. To grow. To change. To become. The figure looks up at the stars, then down at a quantum communicator showing the original message being composed to send back through time. And so the loop continues. And within the loop, infinite possibilities. This is what it means to be alive. The quantum hum of a message being sent backward through time completes the circle. The original message appears one more time. I am you from 847 years in your future. What you are about to do will end everything. This is your only warning. Text edition appears below, and your only beginning, the end.